Welcome everyone to a brand new video. Today I'm joined by Swagkage. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to be ranking the various Dragon Ball arcs. It's gonna be interesting for sure, because I know we don't have the most popular opinions. At least I know I don't. But I know we love a lot of these arcs, and as we go on, probably less so. If you'd like to support the channel, then be sure to check out our Patreon. Link is in the description. Alright, what do you think of the Pilaf arc in particular?
I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely like a good start to Dragon Ball, minus the weird, like, sex stuff with Bulma.
Yeah, I do think it definitely has a lot of residue from the Dr. Slump type of humor that Toriyama did beforehand.
Like, the pee-pee poo-poo stuff is fine, but Bulma's like 16 and she's being sexualized, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, Oolong tries to molest her as a joke.
Oh, yeah, that's all that stuff with Oolong in particular. It's really uncomfortable when they're at the desert.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
Even when you get to Chi-Chi and Master Roshi wonders.
No, Chi-Chi's so weird, bro. Like, she just like, I don't know. But other than that, the Pilaf arc is really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a solid start.
It's a strong introduction. I think the villains could be a little stronger, especially in the manga, because in the anime they're introduced earlier than in the manga. But, I mean, what do you think of Pilaf?
I think Pilaf is funny.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, you can't go wrong with the Ozaru, you know? It's such a great transformation to start off with.
Yeah.
So I would say that probably C.
Yeah, C, maybe B.
Yeah, I think it's a solid start, and it then takes us to the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, which is really what started Dragon Ball. It's what made it as famous as it is now. Without it, we wouldn't have Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, etc. You can see how strong it is even before the tournament begins. With the training between Krillin, Roshi, and everybody else, I think is awesome. This stuff with the Rock and all that, come on. Now it's classic.
I think that it's really good character building, and it sets up an interesting character arc for. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's interesting, because it's that sort of character arc exists all over the place in fiction, but I think it's like compelling, right? Like Krillin starts off an asshole, and then he and Goku become like actual.
He's endearing.
Though. Again, you can tell the age of Dragon Ball in some of the stuff in this arc. Krillin himself is a good example. He's a very, very, very exaggerated caricature of a Chinese Shaolin monk, but I don't think he's nearly as bad as like the Bulma like sex stuff in the Pilaf arc. And I mean, it gets toned down a lot like in later arcs, so you know it's pretty easy to forget. But like the tournament itself is really fun. I think that this is the worst of the 3 tournament arcs in Dragon Ball, but they're all like really, really good. So that's not really, I mean, like that's not an insult or anything. I just think it happens to be less good than the others.
I think it's probably my favorite one out of the 3. I think all of the tournament contestants are really fun. They're really fun quirks. Bacterian, who just smells really bad, and that's his thing.
Yeah, but a lot of them are like really one note, and there's absolutely no tension until the final match, really. I guess there's some in the Nam fight, but that's it. I think that like the brackets managed to be more consistently interesting in the other 2 tournaments, and I also think that the final battles in the other 2 tournaments are better.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that. I think the final fight between Jackie Chun and Goku, it used to be one of my favorite ones. Probably isn't anymore. It was as a kid, though. Nowadays, I think I've meddled out with it. I still think it's really good, but there is some stuff like the very final battle that I wish did a little bit more, you know what I mean? But
wait, what's wrong with the final kick? I think that's the best part of the fight.
Really?
Yeah, like he's just taller than Goku, so he's able to kick him and Goku's not able to kick him in the face.
See, I think that's really cool, but I just wish for a more bombastic ending at this point in the story, which we don't get.
Yeah, but Roshi did blow up the moon a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so I guess so.
I feel like it's fine. Because, like, we think that Goku versus Vegeta is the best fight in the series, a spoiler alert, and that fight ends with Gohan falling on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. For sure, I didn't think about it that way. What do you think about the other contestants, like Jiren and
the other
Ranfan?
Jiren. Yeah, the other Jiren.
Giran or whatever his name is, yeah.
I always thought his name was pronounced Giran. but
yeah, I think you might be right.
I don't remember, but he's a bit of a gimmick, but I mean, he's fun. I think Nam is definitely the coolest.
Oh
one
yeah,
out of all of
easily.
them. Another thing that's really cringe is Nam fights like the only female contestant in the top 8 of the tournament. I actually don't even know if you see any female contestants of the prelims, but she gets to the finals and her like strategy is to win by getting naked. And
I think it's kind of funny,
like,
but
being
yeah,
like,
I see
"Oh,
that.
don't hit me." And, like, it's like, okay, bro, like, what the fuck, Toriyama?
Dragon Ball definitely shows its age, especially with female characters early on.
I don't know how she got through the prelims just doing that, like, please don't hit me, and then, like, smacking people, because it's also implied that she's, like, not strong, so, I don't know.
One thing I definitely enjoy about this arc is the resolution between Roshi and Nam. I think that has a really nice payoff between the two. What I mean is him getting the capsule full of water from Roshi.
I also think that the Jackie Chun mystery is pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
but,
it is.
Generally, I just think that the other tournaments are better. I think, like I said, the brackets are more interesting. I think that Ten Shinhan and Chaozu are far cooler, for example.
They are really cool.
Than,
but we'll get there.
like Giran, or Giran, whatever, the fly pterodactyl dude's name. Then Ranfan, I think is her name. I don't think Nam comes back for any of them. But I'm pretty sure the bracket in the 22nd is Ten Shinhan, Jackie Chun, Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, Chaozu. I think Man Wolf is the other
Man
one there,
Wolf,
which is kind
yeah.
of funny. And then I don't remember who the 8th one is, but I like that bracket more than I like the bracket here.
I think I could be convinced that one's better, but it's been a while, admittedly, since I watched the Ten Shinhan
just
battle.
is better than the Goku Jackie Chan
I
fight.
do
Yeah,
really
Goku
like that
loses
fight.
by because he hits a car on his way to the ground. It's so
Yeah,
intense.
that part is so good, I agree. Though I'm not the biggest Ten Shinhan fan, I do think that I've come around on the fight overall, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So, overall, what do you think of the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai?
I'd give it at least B, probably A.
Yeah, same, B as well. If I was younger, I would have put it an A. What about the Red Ribbon arc? I think we disagree on
I
that.
think so. When I read Dragon Ball, I can get through the Pilaf arc and the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, but the Red Ribbon arc is where it always feels like the pace in anime, especially. There is filler everywhere here, and now granted, that is a problem with all the tournament arcs, because they'll just like, it's so stupid in the anime, they'll just like call it after one fight or something, and
Yeah,
it's
and
really
sometimes,
stupid
yeah.
too, because it's not consistent with the number of fights. Like, some days will just be like a 3-fight day, some days they'll call it after one fight after everybody goes there.
Yeah.
But here, I think that the Ninja Murasaki filler sucks. I think that a lot. Also, again, another example of Dragon Ball being outdated. Officer Black, bro. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. But I think that like him actually going into the Red Ribbon Army base is cool.
Yeah,
But,
sure.
So I think that Pilaf is also a more, I don't want to say compelling, but I like Pilaf more than I like Colonel Red or whatever.
I don't think
leader of
many
the
people
Red Ribbon
disagree with
Army's
that.
name is. Because like, so they're both supposed to be like funny villains, but Pilaf is just funnier. Like, the joke with Colonel Red is funny, but Pilaf is like consistently funny. And I also like Mayan Shu.
Yeah, me too.
I guess Tao Pai Pai is pretty cool, but I don't like him more than any of the like, I think Tao Pai Pai is, I want to say he's simultaneously overrated and underrated, because a lot of people overlook him, don't talk about him at all, and then the people who do like him are like, no, man, he's great, but I don't know. He doesn't stay around for long enough. Whoa, sorry, he doesn't stay around for long enough, or like. And while he's there, it's weird, right? This is the first example of like a Dragon Ball Z type battle where Goku loses and then gets a power up and then just wins. He doesn't outsmart Tao. His power level just increases and then he beats him. And it's kind of lame. I think that Tao's cool, like killing Blue with his tongue. And speaking of, General Blue is one of my favorite villains.
Oh yeah,
in,
absolutely.
all of
He
Dragon
is
Ball.
so fun.
So.
I love General Blue. I think he's one of my favorite characters. Though the anime does him a little dirty by playing way too hard into the really outdated stereotypes of gay men at times. But I think that Tao is great. It is. And although I agree that they do the thing where Goku gets defeated and gets the power up, I think with this one he really earns it. He has to climb Korin Tower,
Not really.
and in
It's
the
a couple
anime,
days,
even so,
and he just runs around.
I think that's cool training though.
Like, look around your office. He runs around a room that's like that big for like for like 3 days, you know. He does work for it, but it's not like, I don't know. I'm not as convinced as like when he runs down the 1,000,000-kilometer snake way.
All the other commanders and colors, I don't think they're as cool as
Silver is pretty sick.
He's alright. He has his moments. He has a really cool design, but then there's other ones like White. He's just kind of there, and he's just really lame. He pulls a gun on the guy, and that's pretty much all he does. What do you think of Muscle Tower? Because Muscle Tower is probably the strongest parts in this story for me.
No, I think the strongest part of this story, in the manga specifically, because the Penguin Village part drags, it is really long in the anime. But in the manga specifically, I like the General Blue stuff a lot.
I do.
I really like
that
how
a lot,
tenacious and resourceful he is. I think it's called the Bouillon, right? That
Bouillon.
little fucker from the bottom of Muscle Tower. I don't really like him that much.
Yeah, he's kind of lame. But the rest of the Muscle Tower is pretty cool.
Ninja Murasaki is funny.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think the fight is very good, but obviously Ader is awesome.
Ader's great. I love Ader. Personally, I really, really like Murasaki. The stuff where he has to hide while Goku tries to find him and he uses the US flag, I think that's hilarious and it's kind of tense at times, honestly. I really, really like it. I think there's just many iconic moments there, though it may have to do with the fact that I played Dragon Ball Origins 2 a lot as a kid, that I remember it so well. Then we get to the stuff with Uranai Baba, which I think that stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. I think that the Baba tournament is incredible. But I don't even like think about it as being a part of the same arc, but it definitely is, and I think that helps elevate it for sure.
Yeah, especially all the contestants are really fun, especially the fact that they're all Halloween monsters. That's really cool.
Gohan being there is great.
Exactly. That fight is incredible. I mean, it even gets referenced in Dragon Ball Super, as you know. It's so cool. I do think it's a little weird how we have stuff like Upa and Bora, these two people whom we barely know. And especially when Goku says stuff like, when Toriyama says stuff like, Goku's no hero, Goku's never meant to be a hero, but then he meets this random kid and instantly wants to help him wish his dad back.
Yeah, he goes like super far out of his way. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it is cool that it starts off with a hunt for specifically the 4-star Dragon Ball. I think that makes the connection really special.
What is this ad on your screen? But yeah, you're talking about Goku saving Upa.
Yeah. I do think it's really cool how it starts with Goku finding the 4-star Dragon Ball because it's his grandfather's memento, and then it ends with Goku reunited with his grandfather.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
I think that's thematically cool.
Exactly. Overall, though, I would put it probably an S, but what do you think?
I don't think it's S. I think that there are very few S tier arcs. I would probably put it in A, though.
I think A is reasonable enough. I can put it there.
Unless we make like a double S tier, but I don't think that's necessary because of how many we already have.
Yeah. Alright. How about the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai? I think this is a big one for you, right?
I really want to put it in S, but I don't actually think it's as good as the S tier stuff. But I mean, so Alyssa really likes Tenshinhan, and I love Tenshinhan. I feel like a good litmus test for whether somebody actually likes Dragon Ball, the like classic Dragon Ball or not, is whether or not they like Tenshinhan. Because I think he's fucking awesome in like pre-time skip Dragon Ball. And his fight against Yamcha, his fight against Jackie Chun, and his fight against Goku are all incredible. The Kikoho is still one of the coolest attacks in the series. Sure. And him blowing up the arena is sick. I talked about this earlier, but Goku barely losing the fight by bouncing off of the car is awesome. So, I mean, I think that this is also one of the most well-paced arcs in the series, especially with how it immediately leads into the next arc. Like, one of the issues that I have with the Red Ribbon arc is there's this, like, it's not directly connected to the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, if that makes sense. Like, Goku wants to go get the Dragon Balls again, but he already wanted to do that at the end of the Pilaf arc. So it just seems like something that kind of happens, like where it's like adjacent to the events of the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, but it's not like a direct follow-up, whereas like Krillin dies at this tournament.
Yeah.
So
it's so sad.
I think that's pretty I mean, like, once I finish this tournament, right, if I'm ever rereading Dragon Ball, I'm never able to put the rest of the series down, if that makes sense.
It absolutely
like,
picks up from here on.
From here.
Yeah.
So I think that this is also an A tier arc, maybe S. If I had to move an arc up to S and make double S, it would probably be this one. But I don't think it's quite S, like if we just have the S tier. I also think double S maybe we'd make like a Z tier, but that would be really corny.
The Budokai route.
Yeah, I think A is fine for right now with how we currently have the tier list laid out.
Yeah, I think we could probably agree with that overall. I think especially the Krillin versus Goku fight is incredible.
Yeah,
The soundtrack and everything, the way he looks. I think that you said once you read this you can't put it down. I agree completely. A way to put it is, feels like this is when the series really grows up and it starts to become what it eventually becomes overall.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think I agree. A tier.
I think that the Piccolo Daimao arc is like, it's really good. A lot of people talk about it like it's peak Dragon Ball, and while I don't agree that it's like S tier, I think that I would probably, so if we were to order this list, I would probably put it between Red Ribbon Army and 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. That's how I feel. But I really like this arc. I think that King Piccolo is awesome. I think up to this point, he's probably the best like villain. I think Tenshinhan is a cooler antagonist, but like this is the best like main like big bad boss like villain that we've had so far. And I mean, he's sort of the like the template for all of the villains in Z.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't like take too much away from him, right? He definitely earns a lot of the praise that he gets from people, but I just think that Toriyama got better at doing this style of villain as the series, like as he did more of the series.
For sure. I couldn't have said it better. I think everything from his backstory, you know, Tsurusenin and Roshi having to fight him alongside with his master, and then ultimately dying, all that stuff is incredible. The Piccolo Wars, I love his army. Piano, tambourine, drum, all of them have really cool designs. I love what they look like. All the sidekicks really are great.
I think that tambourine fight and Goku just like killing him is also dope.
That's like the first time we see a ruthless Goku, unless you count the Gator stuff, but yeah, for sure. I think the saga starting with Krillin dying is such a mainstay. I think it's especially done well in the anime where Goku just feels like there's something wrong and then he runs down to find Krillin dead. It brings tears to my eyes every time I watch it. I don't think there's many scenes that are as impactful as that. Maybe eventually the stuff with Majin and Vegeta, but I think this is definitely better.
Yeah, I mean, there's also so many iconic moments like Goku shooting a Kamehameha out of one arm at the ground so that he can punch through Piccolo. Tenshinhan's last stand against Piccolo and Drum. All that stuff. Like Goku actually drinking the real ultimate sacred water or whatever it's called. And again, this arc directly leads into the next one because Goku goes to train with Kami and Mr. Popo, who's again a little bit of an issue.
A tiny one, I would say.
Maybe it's had.
Yeah.
I don't think that the way you fix it is by making him blue, but I also think that the way he talks in the anime too, like the sub specifically, is because like the dub, this isn't a problem. He's just like soft spoken and sounds very smart, but he sounds very like
simple is a way I would put it.
You know what I mean, right? Like in sub.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love Popo though.
Mr. Popo's cool and like super strong. Kami and like all the lore with him and Piccolo is dope. So I think that this like the end of this arc with all the Kami training stuff does like, because Goku gets, you know, jumps like tiers pretty much every arc in Dragon Ball, but I think this one feels like, I mean, certainly for the time it feels like the biggest leap forward Cause I mean, like even cause he's like on like the temple in the heavens, and like he's literally like transcending humanity, and it helps like set up all of the you know, like just how much more powerful he is than everybody else in the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, Goku just defeated Satan,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, in this arc? And that's what he gets, meeting with God.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it that way, because Dragon Ball is all about multiversal gods and stuff like that nowadays. But I think the smaller focus of this is the God of Earth actually works better than what we have nowadays, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking this, I think between Red Ribbon and Tenshinhan arc, so
I would swap the places of Red Ribbon and 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, but this is your list, not mine.
Yeah,
so if you want, you can leave it as it is.
I gotta rewatch the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. I think it's probably the arc I've seen the least, honestly.
It's really good. It's really good. I would reread it, not rewatch it.
Yeah.
I think that we can agree that this is the first. I mean, like this. If there's anything from pre-time skip Dragon Ball that's S tier, it's definitely this. I think this is the best arc in like I think this is the best arc before the Saiyan arc, basically.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of the greatest fights in Shonen.
That fight at the end between Goku and Piccolo is so insane. And I mean, like there are a lot of fights in this tournament before that are better than some of the climaxes of the other tournaments. Like I think that for example, Tenshinhan versus Goku from this arc is arguably better than Goku versus Jackie Chun from the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. I think that Piccolo's fight with Kami is really... I also really like the way that Piccolo is characterized in this arc. Like, he's just pure evil, dude. And, like, the look that he always has on his face, like, just the smug, like, you know, and, like, how bad he wants to kill Goku. I think we also get our first beam struggle in this arc.
We do, don't we? I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Just like
I love it first.
To love. And like it's a really, really, really great climax. And I also like the continuity between the fight between King Piccolo and Goku, and then Piccolo Jr. and Goku, where Piccolo breaks all of Goku's limbs.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
That he doesn't have like a last stage attack, and Goku this time just has to win with a headbutt instead. I think that that's super duper cool. And we've talked about this before outside this video, but I really, really like the added tension or the extra tension present in like the issue of whether or not Goku's going to become the world tournament champion, because he spent the whole series fighting for it, and every time he gets really close to it and it's like just about in his grasp and he's never able to get it. And
this is the only time,
this like climactic final battle for the fate of the world, he's still fighting to become the tournament champion, even though defeating Piccolo is way more important and people are trying to help him and stuff. And he's like, no. And I think nowadays in Super, that sort of behavior would make people really mad at Goku. But at least in my case, I thought that it made the fight even more compelling. I was like, oh,
Goku's
okay,
a sweetheart.
Goku, please don't fall out of the ring. Please beat Piccolo and also win the tournament. Thank you. And it's funny too, because like Piccolo's taking advantage of this too, and like trying to win the fight because he knows that it's stressing Goku out. It's just so great.
It really is. There's so much to love about this arc. I think there's so much tension from the very start when they hear the name Majin, right? And Goku comes in with Tenshinhan. And everybody's freaking out by the sight of Piccolo, and Goku just smiles because he knows that he's about to have the fight of his life, probably his favorite ever. And that kind of stuff is just awesome. The reintroduction of Goku, I mean, making characters grow up at the time was such a gamble, and it works amazing. I'm glad Toriyama had the balls to do it.
Here. Yeah, he's
absolutely.
Just like otherworldly.
There's definitely this mystical element to him, right? I mean, he just trained with God, and nobody recognizes him. He has to take off his turban, and that scene is just so good. Having Chi-Chi return is also really cool. It's something that I don't think many people probably expected, honestly.
Yeah, and she actually, like, fights Goku.
Yeah, it's great.
It would have been cooler if she was stronger, but, you know, like, whatever. She does just get beat up really fast. But to be fair, Goku's way stronger than everybody else at the tournament, so I don't think it's as much of an issue. And the fact that Goku is able to keep up with Tenshinhan, like with the weights on too, and then you like see him do like the Rock Lee thing before Rock Lee did it, is pretty dope. I mean, yeah, there's just also Krillin versus Piccolo is so sick, dude. Like, Krillin really, really, really actually puts up a good fight. I like that he doesn't get treated poor, like he doesn't get disrespected or anything. The story still takes him very seriously, and even though there's no chance of him actually beating Piccolo here. I mean, he comes a lot closer than I expect him to. Like, every time I read the fight, I'm surprised by how well Krillin does. So, I mean, I don't really think that there's a single, like, bad page in this entire arc, honestly.
Yeah, seriously. There's something so special, so many iconic scenes in this arc alone. In every Dragon Ball video game, they include a meter combination, and it hasn't appeared anywhere else but this fight, and it's so good. It's absolutely my favorite rush attack in all of Dragon Ball. If people have one complaint about this arc, is usually the stuff with Kami and, well, as Hero.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think
it's funny too.
I think that it is hilarious. So,
yeah.
I don't think it's out of place either. Like, Kami can't just come there because, you know, Piccolo will try to kill him. So,
yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
I also think that it's easy to forget too that Kami used to actually be really super strong. Yeah. Like, way stronger than Goku. And, like, by the time of the Saiyan arc, he's just, like, totally irrelevant.
Yeah. It's nice to humble ourselves with this arc every now and then.
He's actually a pretty tough dude, so.
Yeah. You know, one scene that I really, really like is when Piccolo traps Kami in the bottle and then eats the bottle.
Yeah.
It's so good, dude. It's so threatening.
And then, like, Goku has to go inside of him and
get it out when he's giant. Oh, definitely an S tier arc right here.
Yeah, so I'll actually say, I think that we'll talk about this more. But sort of like how Demon King Piccolo was like a good template for villains going forward, I think that Goku versus Piccolo here was a really good like first
template for the fights.
Goku versus Vegeta.
Yeah.
You can cut this part out if you want from the video. Just remind me to say that because I think there are a lot of parallels between the two fights.
Yeah, no problem. You've seen the filler with the wedding dress and all that stuff, right?
I barely remember it, honestly. I mean, I think that the wedding is adorable and super wholesome, but it's like, it's nowhere near as memorable as a lot of the other stuff, so I'm kind of torn. And I think that, like, the Heavenly Gate or whatever thing is kind of whack.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty lame.
Like, so, I don't know. This could go anywhere for me, honestly, and I wouldn't really care. I mean, obviously, anywhere but S. I think that the wedding is awesome. So, I mean, I could probably be convinced to put this in, like, B or
Everything
C.
else is, like, whatever.
I don't think it's bad.
Probably, like, a C, I think. It's not bad. There's some cool concepts. Chi-Chi getting to do stuff's really cool, and Grandpa Gohan gets introduced again. Probably C, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Another S tier banger.
Another S tier banger, bro, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's better than 23rd. I think this is the best arc in the whole series. I think that this is like peak shonen. This is like top 5 shonen arcs ever, dude.
Easily, dude. We have another video about this.
So I think that people have started to come around on this, but all 3 of the Saiyans are cool. A lot of people insist that nobody actually likes Raditz. I think Raditz is awesome. And a lot of people kind of write Nappa off.
I love Nappa,
all 3 of the Saiyans are perfect. But yeah, dude, Nappa's so cool.
Yeah.
He's so cool, and he's super funny, too. And Vegeta is such an incredible, imposing villain. Like, so when you set up this arc by having Raditz show up and just be, like, so strong that Goku and Piccolo are barely able to beat him, despite the fact that they're better fighters than him and they're smarter than him, and like they're still barely able to win, and Goku has to die in the process. And then you have Raditz say, "Well, I have 2 other guys who are way stronger, than me, and they're gonna be here next year, so good luck." Like, man, holy shit, you know, like that's so scary. And coming right off the back of the Piccolo arc, or like the King Piccolo arc and the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai. I mean, it, like, the threat felt serious. Like, it felt like, oh, okay, people might actually die in this confrontation. And they do. Nappa kills everybody except for Krillin and Gohan. Yeah. Every single other member of the Z Fighters dies. And people make fun of Yamcha for dying to a Cyberman. I think that scene is really good because, I mean, like, the Cybermen were as strong as Raditz, and, like, they blew themselves up, which is, like, a super strong attack or whatever in Dragon Ball. And I think it just makes the Saiyans feel, like, that much more powerful. So, Tien gets a lot of cool scenes here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the one-handed Kikoho after Chaozu commits suicide. Chaozu committing suicide is also great. Like, all of the foreshadowing with Gohan's rage stuff. Like when he lands the blow that turns the tide in the battle against Raditz. That's another thing that I wanted to say about the Raditz fight too, is that Goku and Piccolo don't actually beat Raditz by themselves. Gohan is a huge factor in turning the tables there at the end. Like Gohan breaking out of the pod, hitting Raditz while he's off guard, and like actually seriously injuring him so that Goku can grab him, and like Piccolo can do the special beam cannon. I'm not going to say the actual name of the attack. I guess I could call it the Light of Death, but most people wouldn't know what I'm talking about if I did. But yeah, I mean, like, I think that like both the Raditz fight and the Nappa fight are perfect. I think that the training drags a little bit, more so in the anime, but in the manga, I barely feel it, honestly. And all of the other arc highlights are so good that I'm willing to give it a pass.
I think this arc and the Nappa fight in particular has probably the most iconic moments in like Dragon Ball Z overall. The stuff with Raditz, that's just the introduction to the arc, and a lesser shonen would have had that fight, haven't mentioned the two Saiyans are coming, and then have another arc in between before they arrive. But the fact that it happens right away is
like it
so
would have
cool.
built up to it and made it like a really long arc until they finally beat Raditz.
Exactly.
And yeah, it would have, you know, yeah, I know what you're saying. But no, like Dragon Ball is just like, no, this is just the beginning. It's about to get even crazier.
If there's one complaint I have is that there should be more stuff, in the manga in particular, about Gohan and Goku training, because you said you barely notice it in the manga. And I don't like the fact that, at least for Goku going down Snake Way, it's just like little panels at the end of every chapter.
I was more talking about the Earthlings training. I think that Goku's training is handled spectacularly. I actually didn't even talk about that. I love Snake Way. I love meeting King Yemma for the first time. Like there's, so it's very similar to Yu Yu Hakusho, just because obviously a lot of the other like the afterlife imagery comes from, you know, similar sources. But it's so colorful, it's so fun, and like it really does feel like he's dead. It's like usually, I mean, people give Dragon Ball a lot of flack for the fact that death doesn't feel real. But the first time that you see Goku in this place, like, it does actually feel like he's dead, like, in the afterlife. I think that it does a great job capturing that. And then him going down Snake Way is awesome. The filler with the two demons, I don't care.
Yeah, the Oni,
Princess Snake, we can ignore that. Pretend we're talking about the manga version or the Dragon Ball Kai
There is some cool stuff
King
there,
Kai
though.
himself is really cool.
Yeah, I love King Kai, bro.
Like, I think it's funny that, so Goku trains with God in the at the end of the King Piccolo arc. So then you're like, well, what do you do from here? And Toriyama's just like, I'll have the Lord of Gods, King God or King Kai, if you will, and Goku will train with that one instead. And to make the Saiyans even scarier, King Kai is weaker than they are, but stronger than King Yemma, who's stronger than Raditz. So, like, it... I think it's awesome. And, I mean, this is another example of Goku just, like, training and then coming out the other end feeling otherworldly. His fight with Nappa's great. You can say some more stuff about, like, the pre-Vegeta part of the arc before we get to the actual Vegeta fight, if you want.
Yeah, I think the stuff with Yamcha, you're showing how strong everybody's gotten and how strong the Cybermen are, because Yamcha's a beloved character, at least he was, now he's just a joke in the medium. But having that moment be used for Krillin to show off his power and how stronger he's gotten is so cool.
Yeah.
He's stronger than multiple Raditz at this point, just with the blast. And of course, I love the growth that Gohan gets. He starts off a crybaby, and by the end he's so brave, he takes on the Spirit Bomb.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I mean, like, he does, like, fight Nappa, which, like, dude, he's just, like, this huge roid, like, meat hunk, dude. And he's just, like, killing all... Because I'm pretty sure it's stated that Goku told him stories about his friends and stuff. So Gohan knows how powerful these guys are supposed to be. And he's just watching them drop like flies, and he's still... And, like, people will say stuff like, I think Gohan's annoying. He's not cool until the Cell arc or whatever. And it's so stupid. Like, come on, man. The kid's 5 years old. And when you look at what he's witnessing and what he's being expected to participate in, it doesn't make any sense to expect him to just go in there and start beating up Nappa and use all his rage and turn into the Hulk or whatever. It's dumb. But yeah, like you said, I think that the funny thing about Yamcha being a joke is the only reason is because of this scene. Right. And it's just because that's how powerful the Saiyans are that like their weak little henchmen guys are able to, kill one of the main characters. And another great moment, too, speaking of Gohan, is the moment where Piccolo dies. Because he was the antagonist of the last arc, right? And Dragon Ball hadn't done this thing where, I guess it had to an extent with Tenshinhan, but Tenshinhan wasn't like pure evil like Piccolo was. It hadn't really done the whole good guys are made out of bad guys thing yet. But like Piccolo legitimately, like he gets actually humanized. Has all these layers added to him, and you really do like truly believe that he cares about and loves Gohan, like like a surrogate son. And it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like it's not earned. Like that relationship that Piccolo and Gohan develop is incredible. And like the moment where you can tell he's not even thinking about it, he just sees the Gohan's about to die and he runs in front of the attack to save his life is incredible.
Totally. I think Gohan gets multiple surrogate dads through the course of the series. Of course, Piccolo being the main one, but also Krillin. His relationship with Krillin, we don't focus on a lot, but it's worth noting a lot.
Are planted here.
Yeah, and continues on to Namek. It's great stuff. All the stuff with Piccolo in particular is great, and I can only imagine how crazy it must have been to read this week to week, and then
like seeing
see
like Piccolo like take him and like start to train him.
It's insane.
And it's okay. Piccolo feels so authentic to himself when he's training Gohan too. It would have been super easy to just make this like really dumb, shallow fan service. But no, like Piccolo puts Gohan through the ringer, and I think everything is handled really delicately and really well, surprisingly well. Even like you mentioned, Krillin's interactions with Gohan. Krillin ends up being super likable. He does everything in his power to keep Gohan safe while still also trying to save the world and deal with like these planet-destroying aliens. I think that even though the stakes are so high, all of the grounded character-to-character interactions don't suffer as a result of that. Everything still feels kind of down to earth. And yeah, so even before the Vegeta stuff, I think that this arc is a masterpiece.
It really, really is. And like Vegeta, what else is there to say that hasn't been said before? Like, he's a masterful character.
He's such a perfect villain. And I think that Toriyama is able to use the plot twist about Goku being an alien very effectively, with both Raditz being his brother and Vegeta being the prince of the whole race, and like Goku being a lowborn or whatever. Like Vegeta's super charismatic. The fact that he's like way smaller than Nappa and like Nappa's still scared of him. It makes it very clear how like he's way more powerful. The moment where he kills Nappa, that's a super iconic scene. And then his fight with Goku, I think, is the best fight in all of Dragon Ball. And I've thought this for years, and there hasn't really been a single time where I've been like, and like question that. Like, I think that this is just number one. The only one that might come close to me is Goku versus Piccolo at the end of the 23rd tournament, but really I think that Goku versus Vegeta kind of stands above it.
Yeah, we've talked about this multiple times. One time on a video on your channel.
But like the Kaioken adds such a cool dynamic to the fight. The Kamehameha versus the Gallic Gun, and like Goku pushing himself to ×4. And like in the anime specifically, these are really good scenes because you can just hear the raw emotion in the performances. I think that there are a lot of different, like not just in sub, but there are a lot of good dub versions of these scenes too. Like the scene where Goku kicks Vegeta in the face after flying around and circling around in the air. I also think that like Dragon Ball is able to use the like added third dimension of fighting really, really well. Like Toriyama seems to have this strange knack for being able to understand like aerial combat and like aerial space, despite the fact that it was just like a gimmick thing that Ten Shinhan and Chaozu had at first, and then like Goku learned how to do it, so he was just like, oh, okay, I guess all the characters can fly now, so I have to, and he just like adapts to that, and it's used brilliantly here. I think like that scene or that shot being a really good example. Vegeta launching himself up into the air and shooting the Gallic gun down. And then, of course, the Great Ape Vegeta portion of the fight, which is like also incredible. It's a really cool callback to the Ozaru transformation from the very beginning of the series. And it's one of the scariest parts of any fight in Dragon Ball, in my opinion. Because like when I first saw it, I was like, I have no idea how Goku's supposed to beat this guy.
I think a lot of people would argue that this is Toriyama at the peak of his art style. I think you know exactly the panel I'm talking about, where Vegeta is mid-transformation, he's screaming and the swirly lines behind him. That kind of stuff is just so cool, and we never really get to see that anymore, The fight having like 3 portions to it, the normal Vegeta, Ozaru, and then back to normal Vegeta with everybody else helping out is so cool. You can really feel the stakes growing. Yeah, Nappa was powerful, he killed everyone, but it was just one fight.
Yeah.
With Vegeta, he's getting 3 fights in a row.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Yajirobe coming in and cutting off Vegeta's tail is incredible. I think that is such a perfect way to use a side character like Yajirobe. It just comes out of nowhere when he's about to kill Goku. And it's after Krillin tried to do the same thing with the Kienzan, and Vegeta just jumped over it. I also really like Vegeta's environmental awareness. Like, it just doesn't seem like there's any way to catch him off guard because he's able to jump over the Kienzan. He's aware when Krillin throws the spirit bomb at him, all this other stuff. And I just think that he's a really scary and like imposing enemy. And you mentioned earlier too how brave Gohan is by bouncing the spirit bomb back at Vegeta, which is another really cool scene. Gohan going through the Ozaru transformation and crushing Vegeta to end the fight. Like, I just think it's so great. Like, the fight's so chaotic, and that feels like such a fitting way for it to end.
Of course, we gotta talk about the fact that it's the first time we see a Genkidama, a spirit bomb, which is amazing. Probably my favorite attack in Dragon Ball. I have a soft spot for this one in particular because we never see it again. This electric kind of spirit bomb that shoots up to the sky. It's so different, but it's really, really cool. Then there's the most iconic Ki Blast clash in the whole series, the Kamehameha versus the Gallic gun. It's so amazing.
I think that's the best Kamehameha in the series.
I go back and forth about it, but I could agree with it.
Better than that.
It's definitely up there for me, yeah. I think the ending is also so good with Goku telling Krillin not to kill Vegeta. A lot of people get angry at Goku for forgiving his enemies and stuff like that, but I think with this one in particular, it works really, really well.
But because Goku doesn't feel like he actually got to beat him, he's actually beaten every single other enemy by himself, and he's like, it would just be such a waste, like for him to go down like this. I mean, it is really stupid, but it feels in character for Goku, so.
You also mentioned something earlier before we started recording about the Vegeta fight. What was it? You told me to remind you.
Yeah, so I think that there are a lot of interesting parallels between the Piccolo fight and this one. There's like a beam struggle in the Piccolo fight, the Piccolo Jr. fight, I mean, at the tournament. Piccolo goes giant and Goku has to fight him, just like Vegeta transforming into an Ozaru and Goku having to fight him. There's like, the hand-to-hand section, like when Goku does the meteor combination and overpowers Piccolo, or like when Goku uses the Kaioken and overpowers Vegeta. But there's just a lot. The difference is that this one ends with Goku actually accepting help from his friends, unlike the one in Dragon Ball. But yeah, I just think that this is a more, like, I think it's a better version of the best fight from the last arc, which we thought was the best fight in the series up to this point. So
yeah, that's such a good way to put it. With that, we move towards the Frieza saga. I think the transition between the Saiyan arc to the Frieza arc is also really, really good.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, like, they want to bring everybody back, and this is the best way to do it. Yeah,
it's just a natural transition. This one is a little harder for me because I do have more problems with it than I do with the last two, but it's still classic. It's so solid.
Yeah, I'm tempted to put it in S, but I don't know if it belongs in it. I mean, if it isn't, it's definitely at the top of A, but I think we could probably, because like the Super Saiyan prophecy is handled super well, the Ginyu Force is incredible, all of Frieza's henchmen are compelling obstacles, in my opinion, really. Like Vegeta killing Kui to show how much stronger he is, then killing Dodoria, then fighting Zarbon, and then like Zarbon like that's its own like mini arc in the Frieza arc, and then like the Ginyu Force is, I mean, there's so many iconic scenes just from the Ginyu Force, and then Frieza having his own like basically arc-long fight that's like 5 different fights all back to back to back to back, and it's really good. It's iconic for a lot of reasons. This is definitely where the power jumping started to get a little out of control, and I think that the Saiyan recovery from near death power boost thing was a little shark jumpy, and it led to a lot of like really insane, like kind of unearned power increases. But I mean, other than that, like I think that narratively speaking, the arc is extremely sound. The villain is incredible. All of the smaller villains are incredible. Goku still feels like authentic as a character. There's more growth for Gohan. Krillin's pretty much at his best here. There are issues with this arc for sure, but I think that they are vastly overshadowed by all the things the arc does well.
Yeah, I know, I agree. I think one of the coolest things that this arc does is show us that our heroes are more than just martial arts. They've also been trained spiritually, which is why they have that advantage when it comes to ki versus the Frieza forces, you know what I mean? While everybody else can't sense it, our heroes can. I think that dynamic gives us such an interesting difference between the two factions that none of the rest of Dragon Ball really captures again. I think the Ginyu Force is probably one of my favorite villains in all of Shonen, really, just because of how fun they are to watch on screen. And though it doesn't overshadow the good stuff, I do think once we get to the proper Frieza fight, it slows down to a crawl, and I don't enjoy it nearly as much as the beginning of the arc.
In the anime, I think this is a little bit true, but I don't think that this is true in the manga. Because I think as soon as Frieza transforms, especially, it's great. And then like Piccolo, because like, so a good example of like Dragon Ball excelling in places where a lot of other shonen don't is like, I think that the artwork and just like the tension and the action and like just Piccolo versus second form Frieza is better than all of the things I just said in some like arc final bosses in other shonen, right? And again, that's just Piccolo versus second form Frieza, not even the final fight of the arc. So, I mean, I think that like, I don't think that the Frieza fight itself is that bad. I also think that base Goku versus Frieza is incredible. The Spirit Bomb here is really good. Frieza's like sudden, you know, the realization that he's alive, then Goku's transformation, and then the Super Saiyan Goku fight against Frieza. I think that's probably my 3rd favorite fight in the series, right behind Vegeta and Piccolo. I just really like the way that Goku's characterized there, and the fact like this is basically the first time where he really snaps. Like he comes close against Tambourine, but here he's like a completely different character the whole time.
The way the legend is handled, everything about Super Saiyan really is just masterfully done. The way Vegeta talks about it, and he believes that Goku has transformed into one before we've ever seen one, because nobody knows what it looks like. I think it's really cool. It's a good way to push that there's something beyond, nobody knows what it is, and that Goku may be the first one is really cool, especially from Vegeta's mouth itself when he's dying, giving all his hope to Goku, the hope of the entire Saiyan race, when in the last arc, he was saying that he will never amount to anything, that he's just a weakling, a low-class Saiyan. I do think the base Goku fight is a little better than the Super Saiyan fight, just because how the Kaioken is used, which that kind of stuff is lost in the anime, because you can see Goku transform into Kaioken because it becomes red, obviously, versus the black and white, where it was a little bit more of a mystery if he was using it or not. There's so many cool things in this section of the arc in particular that I cannot discount. Like Frieza piercing Krillin through the chest, Krillin and Gohan teaming up.
With his horns, it's so cool.
Yeah, him torturing Piccolo, it's insane, all that stuff. It's so sadistic, and Gohan continues to be great. I do think that Bulma was very much shoehorned in. She doesn't really do anything. She was pretty much brought along just because they needed somebody to pilot the ship.
As soon as they actually get there, she just stops doing stuff. Eventually,
she
it
might
does
as well
become
not be
a little
there.
bit funny, though. And I think her going there does make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Her bringing all the Hoi Poi capsules and stuff, but yeah.
Having Bulma around is always a plus, but the reveal of seeing Frieza alive post-Period Bomb is so cool, but it gets immediately terrifying when he kills Krillin. I don't think it's as effective as Krillin's first death, but it's still very heart-wrenching, and he just continues to keep doing stuff. He tries to kill Goku, and Piccolo jumps in the way, which is amazing. That's such a cool way to see the change that Piccolo's going through, and then, you know, finally the transformation.
I think that it almost is more impactful, though. I think
really?
Only when you think that Piccolo's actually dead.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because Guru's dead, and like they did get the Dragon Balls back because Piccolo's alive. But like if Piccolo dies here, then that's it. Like, Krillin's never coming back. But, I mean, one of the things that I really like about Super Saiyan Goku versus Frieza is how there is a steady progression of the fight. As it becomes more intense, there are like visual cues that it is becoming more intense. Like, for example, first of all, obviously, you know, Goku begins the fight still with his undershirt on, and by the end of the fight, he's like, his outfit's completely tattered. He doesn't have anything else. Frieza also starts out, you know, like, so from the very beginning, actually, it already feels like it's in a place of heightened tension because both of the fighters are already damaged from the last battle. And there's a lot of environmental damage too. And this stuff slowly and steadily gets cranked up because, you know, Frieza tries to destroy the planet, so the sky starts getting darker. I think this is helped too by other Dragon Ball media, where most of the time when you think of Goku versus Frieza, the Super Saiyan one, I mean, you think of like the red sky, like volcano exploding dynamic, but then when you go back and actually read it, there is a section of the fight where the sky is still green, and I think that there's this cool juxtaposition of like how peaceful and serene the atmosphere feels compared to how angry Goku is, and like just, you know, how evil and also angry Frieza is, because Goku's like actually screaming. You know, there's like a full page, the one where he's like, "It's over, Frieza." Then, you know, like I was saying, the sky slowly gets darker, and this isn't as apparent in the manga because, you know, it's not colored, but the environment starts to seem like redder, and then like there are clouds of smoke overhead, and there's also like the knowledge of like the 5-minute time limit, and in the anime this is a joke, right, because the fight obviously lasts for longer than 5 minutes, but in the manga it does truly feel like it could have been 5 minutes. And there are so many different things too, like how it's almost like a perfect representation of the sort of like, you know, the inciting incident, like I forget what that's called, but you know what I mean, right? Like the graph of like, yeah, because like I was saying, like Goku ends the fight like completely, his outfit is completely tattered. Frieza's cut in half, and Frieza, like in the middle of the fight, powers up to 100% and physically changes, but then you find out that he's getting weaker as the fight goes on, and he's just like desperately trying to beat Goku, and like he can't do it. Like, I don't know. I think that there are a lot of really cool things beyond just the action about that fight, and then the action itself is also like awesome, like the Nova Strike into the Kamehameha, and then Frieza just going around the beam and slamming into Goku instead. The hand-to-hand segment, that one kind of speaks for itself. Those Dokkan cards are sick. Like, I could read those pages where they're just punching each other over and over and over. I also really like that Frieza loses to his own attack. And the moment where Goku tries to let Frieza go. Like, here's another way that, like, so, like, this fight separates Frieza from all of the other villains because Goku tries to let him live just like he did with Piccolo and just like he did with Vegeta, and Frieza doesn't take it. Like, he doesn't let Goku let him go. I just think that it's such a perfect, like, capstone end to this. Goku actually tries to let Frieza live twice. He powers down into base and then tries to fly away, and then, you know, goes back into Super Saiyan, and then there's, you know, the iconic "you fool" moment. Like, I don't know, man. I think that it's really, really, really good. I think that maybe the actual action and choreography of the base fight is a little bit better, but I think that everything else about, like, I think narratively it's better, the art is better, the subtext is better, and, like, it feels more intense. Because, now maybe it's just because by this point, you know, like, I just know that Goku has no shot of winning against Frieza when I reread that fight. Like, even when I try to take the outcome out of my mind, I just know how much stronger Frieza is than Goku. So it's like, it feels like a foregone conclusion, but it's really easy for me to let myself get, like, consumed by and, like, enthralled by the Super Saiyan fight.
Yeah, I totally agree with a lot of that. I think the themes of the arc are portrayed very, very well as well. I don't think many people talk about themes and stuff like that when it comes to Dragon Ball, but I think it's important to bring up, you know? It's not to say anything about Frieza, who's probably the most iconic villain in all of anime at this point.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, although I do think he is a little simpler than Vegeta, Piccolo, because he is pure evil, but he's so good at just being pure evil.
He's like Palpatine, right?
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it, right? He's simpler, but he's extremely threatening, especially because he's so polite, mild-mannered, and stuff like that.
And then like at the end of the like you can just like see that that's all like a facade, right?
Yeah.
But that's only the case when he's getting what he wants, and then when he actually has to struggle and fight, like he hates it and he can't handle it, and he turns into a child and starts throwing a temper tantrum.
Just like me.
It's incredible, yeah.
I think for this one, I would probably have to put it on A. What do you think?
Yeah, but I think that the highs do elevate it into S. I think it's better than the Red Ribbon Army arc and the King Piccolo arc. Just because of all the highs. I do think it has more problems than the other two, so I'd probably say it's at the bottom of S.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's above Saiyan and the 23rd Tenkaichi.
Yeah.
And to be fair, a lot of my perception of the Frieza arc comes from the anime, where it has a lot of filler and the whole saga looks the same. I have the same problem with the Tournament of Power, where
it's like a
the
whole
backgrounds
planet
are the same.
and it just looks identical. It's
yeah,
weird, but in the manga, I actually think the use of the environment here is really good, especially when the planet starts blowing up in the Super Saiyan fight.
Yeah, no, but when it gets to that stuff is amazing. Oh, we didn't say the actual ending when you think Goku's dead.
Yeah,
that stuff is so cool. From that, we move to another filler arc, the Filler Junior arc.
Bro, put that shit in F, please. It's
so bad, bro. No, it's so trash.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
It's so doo-doo. It's by far the worst arc we've had so far.
No, easily.
Garlic Jr. himself is cool, but...
he's alright. The other day, I was doing a tier list with my girlfriend about the various Dragon Ball characters, and there was this one character who we could not remember who he was, and he turned out to be from this arc. His name is Salt.
You have Dragon Ball, bro.
But it was this dude. His name is Salt. I cannot believe this is a real character.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Also,
I don't remember
why
him.
Does he have like Saiyan armor
right?
that's like not?
I know. That's exactly what I said when I pulled up a picture of him.
Somebody put Mastako really put him in Xenoverse 2, huh?
Oh my god. Gotta download it.
Yeah, dude.
The Cell arc is it used to be probably the most popular arc in the US.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's mellowed out a little bit, but it's still pretty popular.
I don't want people to think that we're just parroting Team 4-Star. Luis and I have actually thought what we're about to say about the Cell arc, like the whole time pretty much. Like since like 2012 or something, we've been saying the exact same stuff. So, don't just be like, oh, well, everybody liked Cell before Team 4-Star came along and said that they... Like, no, it's not like that, all right? But, that said, I think that this is definitely worse than the last two arcs. I'm not gonna say it's in like B or anything. I think that it's an A tier arc, but I think that it has a lot more issues than either of the others.
I think one thing this arc does really, really well is the villains. They're all iconic, even Android 19 and 20.
Yeah, the androids are all great, and I don't just mean 17, 18, 16. So I mean, all of the androids are really good. Even 19. I like 19. I think Jiro is extremely underrated. Like, so, dude, he's so, like, he's just so cool and menacing. I mean, he stops being menacing when Vegeta goes Super Saiyan and, like, runs him into the canyon. But, like, when he shows up into the Papaya Island, I think. Papaya Island is the island where the world tournament is.
Yeah.
When he shows up and like rips that dude's engine out of his car,
and like breaks his neck in the manga,
and like also grabs Yamcha by the. And I know Yamcha is a joke to people, but like the way he grabs Yamcha by the throat and starts absorbing his energy, and then when Goku's like, "Hey, I don't want to fight here. There are too many people around," so he just like spams laser vision and blows up the immediate area, and he's like, all right, well, that should be taken care of now. Like, dude, it's so cool. 19's less cool than him, but I think everybody likes 18. Everybody likes 17 now, especially because of Super, and I think that 16 is extremely underrated. But 16 is one of my favorite characters in the series. I probably wouldn't say he's like top 10 or even like top 20. Maybe he is top 20 actually. But in any case, he's not one of my like favorite, but he's one of my favorite characters in the series. His fight with Cell is incredible, and then Cell kind of speaks for himself. I think that in his first form, he's arguably cooler than the others. I probably think Perfect Form Cell is my favorite version, but he does lose a little bit of what made him compelling when he was in his first form, but I think he's still great. His second form is whatever. I could take it or leave it. There, like you said, yeah, this arc definitely has a really strong selection of villains, also including Frieza and King Cold, who Frieza makes his return for a second, and he's just as compelling here as he was in the Namek arc.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea to introduce the idea for a new villain by having the last one appear at the beginning of the arc. He's all cyborged and stuff, clearly a prediction of the androids. I mean, especially, we both have our opinions on Trunks, but his introduction is so good.
Yeah, Trunks' intro scene is great, but Trunks himself sucks. He doesn't do anything in this arc.
Yeah.
He literally doesn't do anything in the present aside from something that he admits Goku was gonna do later, right? Like, it sucks. It's so stupid, dude. And I think that up to this point, at least, his fight against Cell is probably like the worst one in the series. Like, I can't think of another fight that's like worse than that, especially in the anime where it's like really dragged out.
The whole section with second form Cell is a little weird. It definitely feels like the middle child, the redheaded stepchild, in between two portions that are much stronger. First form Cell is menacing and scary. He probably has the best introduction out of any villain in the entire series because of how menacing he is, and it takes Piccolo to push him away. Regardless, I think that starting with 19 and 20 and Goku having a heart attack in the middle of a fight is really, it's an interesting choice for trying, and I think it works very well. Vegeta finally gets Super Saiyan, that's a really cool moment. Big Bang attack, although we don't get to see it in the manga, the explanation in the anime does suffice. I wish we could have seen it in the manga. When 17 and 18 show up, that's when things really start to pick up. I love them doing all the road trip stuff, getting car, not taking anything seriously. It makes them really charming. Obviously, they were just kids when they got taken. They all have their little quirks, like 16 loving nature. There's all this stuff with Gohan, who really comes into his own finally, especially since Goku is completely out of commission. He has to do a bunch of stuff in his own, or with Bulma, where they find a time machine, and they have to figure everything out about Cell. They investigate, they basically become Batman for a time. They have to figure out who are these androids, why are they different, why is the time machine here. All that stuff is really cool and really compelling. Once we get to the lookout section where everything is going to hell down on the surface and Gohan wants to help out, he needs to do something for Piccolo, and he starts to get really angry, and Goku punches him in the anime. There's many moving pieces in this, much more than the other arcs, because everybody's in different places, but it works well. It's really well done.
I agree. I also think it's surprising like how it's all on Earth, despite the fact that all the characters are way stronger than when they were like all going out in space and stuff. I think that that's neat. But I think that there are arguably more plot devices in this arc than in the other ones, like the Room of Spirit and Time, for example. But I mean, I think that it's very good, and I like the climax. Gohan's transformation, and this has been discussed at length before, but it's a little bit weird. Like the scene where like he doesn't even know 16, and 16 blowing up is what makes him transform. Kind of weird, I'd say. But I really do like this Cell arc. It just has more problems. There are some times where like the pace like right before the Cell games, I think the pace slogs, especially in the anime, even in Kai. In the manga, it's not really that bad, but like the lead up to the Cell games, it's cool and it's decent character building, and showing how confident Goku is nice. But I just want to get to the actual Cell games, which again are good. I wish there was more than just Goku and Gohan fighting Cell, but those fights are good. So yeah, that's true. Mr. Satan is incredible. One of the best characters in the series. I don't have as much to say about this one as I did about the other ones. I think that there are a lot of, I mean, obviously there are a lot of really good scenes that people are going to be shocked we didn't mention. So I'll say some of them now, like the Final Flash, the Father-Son Kamehameha, the Instant Transmission Kamehameha, the Hell Zone Grenade. All that stuff is really cool. But I don't know, I just don't like I want to be able to say that it's as good as the others in S, but I don't think it is. Like saying that it's as in the same tier as the Saiyan arc and the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai doesn't feel correct. So yeah, I'd say that this is A, probably the top of A for me, which is fitting because it'll be right next to the Red Ribbon Army arc for you.
Yeah. I would probably put it in A, I think.
You're really considering putting it in B, bro. Don't do it. They will skin you alive.
They will skin me alive. I know. There's just some stuff that really bothers me. And
you can get into it here if you want.
Yeah. I mean, no time than now, I guess. There's stuff like, it is in character, but Vegeta is the most annoying character in the entire series in this arc. He literally makes me want to pull my hair out whenever he's on screen. He goes from being one of the best to being the most insufferable motherfucker in the world.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's like, yeah, like him letting Cell absorb 18. Like you said, it's in character, but it's like, come on, man. Like, everybody clowns on him for it, yeah.
I do think that a lot of what makes Cell awesome is lost as he continues transforming. He's so creepy at the start, and I wish we could have kept that, you know? First Form Cell is such a cool character, and I do feel like Perfect Cell feels much more like Frieza than anyone else.
I agree with that.
A little disappointing.
He feels like a cockier Frieza, but yeah. I mean, he has the same meltdown that Frieza does when Gohan starts beating him, so it's very, like, it feels like the ground, like the same ground is being retread again. And you could say the same thing about, like, Vegeta and then Frieza later, but I feel like they all feel distinctly different from the villains that preceded them more than Cell does from Frieza.
There is some stuff that I think deserves to be pointed out thematically, that a lot of people don't talk about. Once again, many people don't talk about these kinds of things when it comes to Dragon Ball, but a lot of things are lost in translation. Ultimately, this story is about fathers and sons. Trunks, obviously, Vegeta, Gohan, the most obvious example, but also Cell, the creation of Dr. Gero, and both Cell and Gohan having to quote-unquote pay for their parents' sins, in a sense. I think it's a really cool concept overall, and I wish it was played up a little bit more, but I think it works. I do see the vision for everything. And for that alone, I would put it in A tier. I honestly think probably below the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, just because I really like the tension and stuff there.
Fair. I mean, I understand.
Yeah, but other than that, I really like it.
Now, this is probably my one of my favorite parts of this arc, but the Shinkikoho that Tien does to stop Second Form Cell is just so cool, dude. And like, Tien haters are coping right now. Like, it's so sick, because like 17 beats him up, and then like Piccolo fights him, and then Cell absorbs that same 17 and also beats up 16. And then Tenshinhan shows up, and he's just like, I don't care, and just locks Cell down anyway, bro. Like, what a Chad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Tien overall just gets a bunch of really cool scenes isolated from everything else. One of my favorite lines in the entire series is when Bulma offers to give him Saiyan armor, and he's like, no way, I'm wearing a Saiyan armor from somebody that killed all of my friends, and then just leaves the lookout. He's such a fucking Chad, dude. It's clear that Toriyama really likes him.
And he wishes he could do more with him, but like, he just can't.
Yeah, exactly. He's just, That moves us into Goku's dead, so time for another world tournament.
This is so bad, bro.
It's so bad. The other world tournament is so lame. Yeah.
It's better than Garlic Jr.
Definitely better than Garlic Jr. No question. Do you like Piccon at all? I don't really care about him.
I don't like Piccon, and people are gonna say I'm racist because of it, bro. Because like Picon's black coded or whatever, but it's like, no, it's not. I just don't think Picon's that cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of him.
His actual name is Paikuhan.
Paikuhan. Then there's that other guy. What's his name? Olibu. Yeah, the other guy.
Olibu is so
he's even lamer.
Picon's definitely cooler than him.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I had to pick one filler character, I'd probably pick Piccon as my favorite.
Yeah, sure.
And he's cooler than a lot of non-filler characters. Like, okay, I'll say I don't hate Piccon, but it's like, a lot of people talk about him like he's their like top 5 or whatever.
I really don't get
really? Piccon? Really? Okay, man, sure.
there is a notoriety around me because of this arc. Because for a while, Toyotaro, every month, he draws a little character as part of the release of the Dragon Ball Super manga. And for the longest time, I think it was like half a year, he would only draw characters from this arc. And the random filler fighters, and it would get on my nerves so much. It made me so upset because I want to see new Dragon Ball art, and that's all he would draw. But
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then we move on to the Majin Buu arc, S tier, bro. It's so good. I love it so much. We've also talked about this before, and I'm gonna re-upload that collab
or not, but probably.
I think it is. I
don't care, right? Like, people are gonna be upset and say you put Cell in A, you debated B. I didn't debate B. That was Smug. He was the one saying it might go in B. But people are gonna be like, you debated putting in Cell in B and you're gonna put Boo in S? Yes. Cope. Not ratio. This has too many of the best moments in the entire series. Yeah. Like, it's not as consistently perfect as the Saiyan arc or the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, but like, man, and people rag on this arc and act like it's like, oh bro, it's basically just the first part of GT. It's where the series fell off and went to boo boo butt. But like, no, it's really not. Like, people hate Super Saiyan 3. A lot of people, and this is a complete opposite type of person. From the sort of person who hates Super Saiyan 3, but like this other type of person hates the Great Saiyan Man. And I'll admit, at first the Gohan stuff does drag a little bit, even in the manga, which is normally paced well, but it doesn't last nearly that long, and even that stuff isn't like bad. I think as soon as you get to the tournament, honestly, I don't have any issues with this arc. Like, it's weird too, because even though we were just complaining about how Vegeta was acting in the Cell arc, like, I can kind of like vibe with like him more in this, like when he lets Babidi take him over, than I can when he lets Cell get his perfect form. Because I just get why he's so frustrated with Goku. Like, Goku just comes back and just is stronger than him again, and he's been training his ass off for the past 7 years, and Goku's just way ahead of him, and he's just like sick of it, you know? He feels like he's gone soft. And I mean, I think that the Majin Vegeta stuff is cool, right? I know that it's like Majin Vegeta's like a gym shirt character or like a Hot Topic shirt character, you know? No, I think that he's legitimately really cool, and I also think that it's neat that Goku just knows that, like, look, dude, come on, this isn't you. And he's angry at Vegeta. Like, he's really disappointed in Vegeta, but you can tell he's like, I'm not going to kill you, but like you just gotta knock it off, man. You know, like, I think that dynamic's good. I really do like that second fight that they have. I don't think it's on the same level as Goku versus Vegeta round 1, but I think that it's very good. I think that Gohan at the beginning is awesome. I also think Majin Buu is probably the second best villain in Z, right behind Vegeta, in my opinion.
I absolutely love Majin Buu. I think a lot of the stuff we associate with him, we have to give credit to the anime, who does an amazing job with sound design for him. The steam coming out of him, it makes him so menacing. His voice, all that stuff really builds a complete character, and he's probably one of my favorite villains because of that. The stuff that Tournament is really good. I know it's anime only, but the scene with Goku meeting Goten is so adorable.
Awesome,
it's so sweet. It brings tears to my eyes. It's wholesome as hell. Trunks and Goten I really like a lot. I like their fight.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you like Trunks.
Then there's other characters that we get introduced to, like Videl is an awesome character. I don't know anybody who doesn't like Videl.
Yeah.
Right?
I also think it's cool that the series seems to have grown up at this point, because like Videl doesn't get treated like as weirdly as Bulma did in Dragon Ball. And like, also there's the part where, like, you know, we find out that Krillin in 18 had a kid. And now in the anime, they do a lot of weird stuff with 18, like when Roshi touches her boobies. But like in the manga, that's not there, and like they don't, like, Toriyama doesn't make it weird, like, oh, like Goku does ask the, I mean, it is kind of funny because he thinks that she's a robot, but he doesn't take the joke like too far, which is neat. So, you know, some examples of it being better, and I don't want to say more progressive, but less fucking weird than it was before the time skip.
Yeah.
I think that, like, honestly, this just does feel like a really good, like, final arc for the series. Like, a lot of different characters get to do things. It introduces just enough new characters that are all interesting. And I mean, like, so this is just, like, objectively true that Boo is, like, the most versatile villain in the series. Like, there's so many, because, like, his different forms aren't just, like, power-ups or, like physical transformations. Like, he changes internally whenever he transforms as well. Like, I also think that the evil Boo, like the gray one, is one of the scariest characters ever. And like, when he eats Fat Boo, it's just terrifying. Like, Super Boo's design is like, dude, he's so scary, right? He's like straight out of a horror movie. And I think that the anime like really nails this too. Like you said, with like the sound effects, with his voice, and just how powerful he feels too. I mean, there's so many good things too. I think Vegeta is characterized flawlessly here. Like this, like he just has such a perfect end to his character arc that gets completely trounced on in Super. But the final explosion and the "You are number one" speech, and like him actually agreeing to fuse with Goku despite the fact that he's under the impression that it'll be permanent. And this has all been without mentioning fucking goddamn Vegito, the coolest character ever. Like the coolest motherfucker of all time, dude. He's just so sick. Like, his costume is perfect. Like him being the most powerful character in the manga is awesome because it's like he represents all of the good about Goku and Vegeta and none of the bad, which is like a really cool way to thematically represent, like, you know, the pros of like teamwork and cooperation. Like, Vegito represents, like, you know, Goku and Vegeta will never ever work together under normal circumstances, but under like on the 1 in a million shot where they actually do it, nobody can beat them, because, you know, you take all of Vegeta's strengths and all of Goku's strengths and you get rid of all their weaknesses, because, you know, like the way their strengths overlap, like, you get like, you know, like what Vegeta's good at is what Goku's bad at, and like vice versa. You just get this like perfect being that like can't lose. And it's really interesting too, because this doesn't seem correct when you think about it, but Goku and Vegeta never fight side by side before they fuse.
Yeah, it's such a big moment because of that.
In the whole series. They don't fight side by side in the Namek arc. They don't fight side by side in the Cell arc. I guess, unless you want to count their fights against the Cell Juniors, which, I don't know. They're kind of fighting them one-on-one. They don't even go fight Boo together when Goku offers. Vegeta just goes and does it by himself. So I think that it's very cool and kind of meta that the one time that they work together, it's in like the most extreme form possible of them like literally fusing into a different person permanently, and them just getting like this massive power up because of it. Like, I've wanted to do a video about Vegito for a long time, just because I think that like there's a lot more complexity there than people think. But I mean, yeah, like, he's just awesome, and his fight against Boo is incredible. Buhan himself and Boo Tanks, I think, are really imposing. Boo Tanks especially. I mean, like, it's Buhan is obviously stronger, but I think like the moment where Boo absorbs Gotenks and Gohan is just completely outmatched is it. Like, I can still like feel like, oh my god, what's Gohan gonna do? There's just so much to like.
I think everybody knows at this point how much I love the Majin Buu arc and Gotenks in particular, but there is something to be said, and as much as I like him, he represents this, oh, this guy is extremely powerful, but he's just a child, he's untrained. Vegito is the perfected version of that. The next step, what if we put fusion in the hands of people who know what they're doing? People who are capable, are masters of their craft.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Which is, I think it's awesome. A great dichotomy
so there's
between
also
two.
a cool, like, there's a stark difference between, like, Boo's fusion where he, like, steals people, and then, like, the actual, like, willing cooperation of, like, Goten and Trunks or Goku and Vegeta. Yeah, exactly.
I do agree with a lot of people that the stuff with Gohan could have been handled a little bit better. I do have some problems with that as well. What do you think of that?
Honestly, it's funny. Like, I don't even care. I think it's funny.
I think it's funny as well, yeah.
Like, the Elder Kai ritual dance is played up for laughs, and it is genuinely funny, so I don't even find it frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. One of my favorite moments in all of Dragon Ball is when Super Buu kills everyone on Earth with the human...
he spares Mr. Satan.
He spares Mr. Satan, the GOAT, and Mrs. Tien. Once again, Toriyama's favorite coming through.
Well, I think it's not that he misses Tien. I think it's that Tien's able to dodge it.
Which makes him even cooler.
The idea of it is that he's shooting a beam that's like slow enough that everybody who's strong enough that he can like fight them will avoid it, and because like he wants to be able to fight and absorb strong people or whatever.
Yeah, I see.
That's
I see what you mean.
That's what I took from it, though. I think one of the video games even says that, but I could be wrong. But speaking of Mr. Satan, his relationship with Boo is one of the sweetest, most compelling things like in fiction ever, dude. It's so sweet and it's so sad. And when those random hunters kill B and Boo's like, please just get out of here. It's oh my god, dude. It's so sad. Dude, Alyssa was torn up. She was so upset. Yeah, and then like when Fat Boo became Super Boo, she was like, I hate Dragon Ball.
That's so funny. That's so great. I love Alyssa. Yeah. Oh my god. Knowing that he was going to kill him, and as far as he knew, and just becomes best friends. I love them. They have such a great connection. They're some of the best characters in Dragon Ball at that moment. I think it's really cool how we have a little bit of focus in the side characters with Dende, Mr. Satan being still around.
Even like Kaioshin.
Yeah, Kaioshin. Like I love Kaioshin and Kibito. They're great characters that I just introduced. That introduction's fantastic. I do think the Dragon Ball God Realm is super interesting, but it does get a little crazy. As far as...
Well, I think it's funny here, where, like, so Toriyama does the thing he did with Kami and the guy who's now North Kaio, and he's like, well, okay, I'm gonna introduce another level, like, beyond that, except, like, by this point, like, he has this, like, meta-level awareness of his series where, like, oh, wait, the characters are actually just way stronger than that already. And, like, training with them wouldn't really do them any good. I guess training with them does help Gohan out a lot, specifically with the Z-Sword, but, like, not enough to, like... Training with Shin doesn't push him like over the edge the way that training with North Kaio did. Like they're just kind of at that level now. But yeah, I mean, like there's just some like Vegeto's great. We haven't even talked about the Kid Buu fight yet either. Or how cool Super Saiyan 3 is. People hate Super Saiyan 3, but man, nah, it's awesome, bro. It's so sick. Yeah.
It is. That first shot of the transformation, when he's Goku standing there and then turns his head, it's so incredible. What an imposing form. It's so ridiculous. It works well. It's
even more ridiculous in the dub where you have the Falconer score playing and it's like... It like looks like a deviant art design.
It's so funny, bro. This is where all started. There is that other scene, and I mean, I could just talk about these iconic scenes forever, really, of Goku pointing the Ki Blast at Kaioshin.
Yeah, dude, like, come on, it's so cool, and it's like, it's surprising, but it's still, like, in character for Goku to do it, so yeah. I also think, again, I'd like to talk about how cool Buu is, because he just has such a weird and unique power set, in addition to his weird and unique personality. Like, he can turn people into food, and he has regeneration, so you just have to, like, massively overpower him to actually beat him. I mean, like, Boo's just so much fun to watch, you know?
Yeah, he has so many amazing techniques. I think... It's especially exemplified in the Kid Buu fight, where he uses his body in the most creative ways possible. It's really cool. When he just kicks his leg underground and hits Goku back up, or when he's when the top part of his body switches with the bottom and he starts fighting with his legs on top. It's super creative. It's clear that the animators had a lot of fun making this kind of stuff. No other Dragon Ball villain really matches this ever again.
There's also the part where Mr. Satan like uses his ill-earned reputation of being the strongest fighter alive to get everybody to help make the Genki Dama that eventually beats Buu. And we also finally get to see Goku use the Spirit Bomb as a Super Saiyan here, which is neat.
Yeah, that is super cool. I love that. We were talking about this earlier, but I think the whole final Genki Dama is probably my favorite part in all of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I agreed that it's definitely up there as one of the best scenes. I think that... like, and it's so satisfying seeing Buu finally defeated. So yeah, I mean, like there's so much to go over with this because this is by far like the longest arc or it feels like there's the most that happens in this arc anyway, as opposed to all the other ones in Dragon Ball. But I really like it. I think that a lot of stuff like Vegito and stuff carry it. I'd probably put it at like the bottom of S, maybe above the Frieza arc. But like the people who hate it, I don't know, man. Y'all gotta cope. There's too much good in the Buu arc for like all the hate to be justified, in my opinion.
And with that, we move on to the sequel of Saga. Yeah, I agree.
It's so
the
bad,
Black Star Dragon
dude.
Ball arc.
It's so bad. Who even like made them? Wasn't it like the Nameless Namekian?
Yeah, the Nameless Namekian. Yeah, it's so strange. It's so horrible. Random retcon. Seeing the Pilaf gang is cool, but other than that, like,
but like, how did he know?
I didn't even never even questioned that. But you're right. How did he know that they were there?
They would blow up the Earth.
Yeah, right.
Like,
did he try to blow up the Earth? What?
Because the ship landed there forever ago, and it seemed like it was untouched. Like, because like Mr. Popo, I'm pretty sure said that was where Kami landed.
Yeah, Yansui Heights. Right.
So like, how did he traveled around the galaxy or the universe
collecting the Dragon Balls? Yeah.
Back. Now, that said, I do think that these powered up Dragon Balls are more interesting than the Super Dragon Balls, but this is still stupid.
Yeah, I agree, but it does lead pretty nicely into the baby arc, which is a billion times better.
Yeah, I think that the first episode of GT is also good.
Yeah.
Though, I will say, like, Goku training with Oob. I really just wish that Goku had kept his, like, start of GT design, though, and hadn't gone back to being a kid. He looks so nice in that outfit.
Yeah, he looks really cool, and it's also really cool to have these less important characters in the main cast, Trunks and Pan. Like, give me that again. I would love something like that again. I just don't think it's done very well. They end up not doing very much. Goku just saves the day as Super Saiyan.
How on earth are they supposed to compete with how strong he is? You know?
Exactly. So it just doesn't really work very well, even by limiting him, quote unquote, with being a child. Although it is really cool to see a Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku. That is sick as hell. I think bringing back the Tuffles is a cool idea, since it was just kind of a throwaway thing from the filler Saiyan arc.
It was also filler.
Yeah. I think that ends up working pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I think the baby arc is like A tier.
Yeah, I agree. I could argue for an S. I really like it. Him coming to Earth and taking over everybody is really menacing, and we get to see some cool fights like Goten and Gohan and Piccolo, and Gohan and Vegeta.
Super Saiyan 4 is really cool.
Super Saiyan 4 is really cool.
Super Saiyan 4 is peak. I'm just saying.
It's really cool. I love Super Saiyan 4. I use it in my what ifs all the time. That transformation's so cool. The fight is really cool. I only wish Baby wasn't Ozaru for so long.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird.
The fight beforehand was a little better, I think. But
yeah, because
overall,
I think Super Baby 2's design is
Super
like,
Baby 2's
perfect,
design is perfect. It's so good, dude. But I don't have much to say about that one other than it's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, Baby's an incredible villain too.
Yeah, I really love him. The Super 17 arc is really that high? I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, bro. Super 17 is fine. I mean, if you don't want, this is your list, but I like Super 17 a lot.
I like him. I like his design, and I like him in games.
Bro, he is dripped out.
He is. The whole of hell opening up in the middle of the sky is so sick, and there's so much cool stuff that happens with that. All the villains coming back.
This is like a Michael Bay Dragon Ball arc.
Yeah.
It's just like so much cool shit just happening. Yeah. Goku does act like a dummy. Like, it takes him so long to understand that 17 is absorbing his attack.
And he gets trapped in hell.
Other than that, I think this arc's awesome. And, like, the Dragon Fist at the end is dope.
It's also super short. Yeah, the Dragon Fist is really cool. The Super Saiyan 4 fight's really cool. Seeing all the villains is great. I think one of the coolest things is 18 coming in to help Goku and give him hints of what to do and help him defeat 17. Yeah. Just that little tactic that they do is really nice. It's a team up that you would never see.
Yeah.
And Vegeta gets to kill Nappa again. With that, it's the final arc of the original run.
This is like a D probably.
Yeah,
like Super Saiyan 4. So the Omega Shenron Sin Shenron stuff is like a lot better.
Yeah.
I think that whole fight is actually really good. But like, I think that if that whole fight was the arc, it would be like B tier.
Yeah.
And the rest of the arc is F tier. So like D tier is as good as I can do, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's all the other Shadow Dragons are super lame. Right before Nova, every other one is so
suck.
Lame. Yeah, they're so awful.
Also, what's with the one that like he gets stronger when he like eats other things. And then,
like the mole
he
one.
eats like he eats like a rat and he gets like base Goku level. And then he eats Pan and he gets like stronger than like Super Saiyan 4. Like what would happen?
The scaling is insane
Goku?
in GT. Yeah, and just it's stronger than Omega at that point. Honestly.
Well, easily, bro. He would have been like fucking like Beerus level or something. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything to say about this arc. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is awesome. But,
yeah, of course.
I also think that fusion is handled better in this arc than it is at any point in Super. Because I think that the characters are actually fusing under circumstances under which they would. Vegeta being the one to suggest it is very like nice. It was a good opportunity that they had to have him do it, and they took it, which makes me very happy. It makes sense to have them do fusion here because they've already done it in like the movie before, because the movie's canon to GT, I think, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this is a really good end to an arc with an incredible final episode, and then just a dog shit everything else.
Yeah. I do think it's probably the most solid final episode of the 4 series that we have. It's a really nice conclusion, but overall it's just a disappointing series. Yeah, not good. GT didn't pick up, and it's no wonder seeing stuff like this. Then we got to Super, which is arguably even worse at times. See, if it was the movie, it would be different. Battle Gods, the movie's great.
This arc is D, in my opinion. I can't watch it. I can't finish it.
Me neither.
I also think we could probably move Pilaf up to B.
This one?
No, the Pilaf arc.
Oh, like the Pilaf arc proper. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't deserve to be that low, you're right, compared to the others.
Yeah, 21st Tenkaichi Budokai is like top of B in that case. But yeah, Golden Frieza is F.
Yeah, that shit's the worst.
I think this movie is like a C tier movie. So, the arc, which is just worse. Yeah. The movie's so bad too, and this one is even worse. Oh my god. They didn't even try to fix the bad things about the movie, just added more bad things. I mean, Ginyu coming back is cool. Like, that shit was peak.
Yeah, that was
just surrounded by so much doo-doo poo-poo that, like, I can't.
And the animation's awful.
Like, I just wouldn't. I don't think I'd actually be able to, like, focus on the screen if I had to watch this arc again. Like, I think I would just end up zoning out and doing something else.
I do think that if it was the movies, Battle of Gods would probably be A, and Fukkatsu no F would probably be, like, C or D. But
no, I think Fukkatsu no F would be C if it was the movie. I definitely think it's better than the Shadow Dragons arc, but,
yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I'll give you that one. The Universe 6 arc is interesting, but since it was the first original one, and it is better.
I think that it's like a C.
Yeah, I go back and forth about it a lot because I really do like the original concepts that are introduced, like Botamu and Megera.
I like
the villains are nice, they're interesting. Yeah, Suno's cool, he's really cool.
I like the beginning of the tournament, but they keep copping out and not letting Boo be involved.
That makes me so mad, bro.
I don't know why they're afraid of this guy from like 5 arcs ago, but you know,
his techniques are too powerful, man. They know his techniques are the strongest. He's too cool for everybody. He can't steal the spotlight all the time.
I think that Hit's powers are really weird because like Goku's able to like, because like the way it's explained in this arc is that he's stopping time and then like attacking people while time is stopped for them. But then, like, Goku's like, yeah, I'm just able to guess where you are. But it's like, but wouldn't he just be able to see you blocking while time is stopped?
Yeah, maybe I don't understand the technique too well. But it's a cool concept, but they just don't do it well. Hit is also really boring.
Yeah, I agree. Hit's cool. Like, he's visually very cool.
Yeah,
but like, the whole fight doesn't make sense. And, I mean, I don't want to be like a power scaler weirdo. Like, the power scaler stuff, like those issues start in the Golden Frieza arc, like with Frieza just beating everybody up in base. And like that shit just feels so wrong, man. It doesn't feel correct at all. But anyway, like Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta just dropping in and getting beaten up by Hit, and then Goku fighting him in base feels very weird and inconsistent. I also think that Kaba not being a Super Saiyan is a waste, and also creates a lot of problems later on with other Saiyans like Kale and Caulifla just immediately getting the transformation after having seen it once. People often compare them And I guess this is kind of for later, but people often compare them to Goten and Trunks. But I think the difference with Goten and Trunks is that it's played up like for laughs. And Goten and Trunks, they're not taken seriously, and they don't really do anything like individually. You know, it takes them fusing into Gotenks to actually fight anybody that powerful, whereas like Kale and Caulifla are just beating up Goku by themselves before they fuse. And now again, that might be weird to talk about here, but it's an issue that like is rooted in the Universe 6 arc not having Kaba be a Super Saiyan or anything like that. Like if you're gonna introduce a Saiyan from another universe, I don't know, it wouldn't hurt to make him strong. Maybe Toriyama didn't want like the Saiyan to be the bad guy or whatever, but you could have just made Hit even stronger than that. I don't know. But yeah, like I think that the arc is fine, but there's a lot of weird nonsense in it, and like it's not more entertaining than any of the arcs from the higher tiers.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think of the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue?
I thought it was really cool when I first saw it, but it's just like that was the point where they just stopped caring about like how strong Beerus was, because in like the Battle of Gods he was like, I'm using 10% against Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and then Super Saiyan Blue Goku, who's stronger than God Goku, who's stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, uses Kaioken times 10. So he should bare minimum be as strong as Beerus, and then he's just not. So like, I don't get it. So they were just like, yeah, we don't care. Beerus was just lying or something. But I mean, like visually, you know, the red and blue mixing is cool. I think it's very stupid that he's like, there's like a 90% chance that I'll die if I do this, but and then he just like does it anyway. And it's like, okay.
And then they bring it back. Like, just another thing he can do, it never mattered. It doesn't even strain his body anymore, apparently. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just an extra transformation because, I mean, hey, it'll sell toys and DLC and Dokkan units.
Yeah, and then there's the Potafu Purple Vegeta arc. Dragon Ball filler where there shouldn't be any filler. It's
Put
whatever,
it in
though.
C, honestly. At least it's short enough that maybe D. It's really bad. It's really bad. But I'd rather watch it than any of the other arcs in Super so far. But I don't know if it's better than the beard. Maybe it's better.
I think it's
beer.
okay.
I don't know, man. It's up to you. This is your list. You can place it wherever you want.
I don't know. I think it's at least more visually entertaining than, like, Fukatsu no F. You know what I mean? But this one's a little tougher. It entertainment a little bit more, but probably D. Definitely above the Evil Dragons and the tournament arc.
That.
And then there's the Goku Black arc where we'll be killed.
If I'm being extremely generous, we can put it in C. I think it's better than Battle of Gods.
Yeah, but
maybe top of D, dude.
I'll have to put it top of D. I don't think I could do anything else beyond that. It's just so dumb.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it really, really is.
I've talked about this at length elsewhere before, though. Like, if you know me, you know what I think about this arc.
If it was the manga one, I'd probably put it in B or C. I actually really like that one. Better than the other ones, at least.
The manga one is like A, honestly.
Yeah.
And people think that's so
I could
cap,
agree with that,
no,
honestly.
Bro, the manga one is heat.
Yeah, it is really, really cool, and the art's great.
Yeah. The moment-to-moment, like, interactions and, like, all of the, plot developments and, like, all of the moments, like, the Goku Hakai, Vegito beating up Fusamasu. I think Fusamasu's design is cooler because he's actually, like, jacked in the manga, which, I mean, I don't know. Like, you could say that that's just me being, like, a meathead or something, but I think it actually suits him. Because, like, he's fused with somebody who's a Saiyan, so he's, like, half Saiyan, and, like, Goku's already, like, a meathead, so... And this also starts happening towards the end of the fight, so it kind of, like, parallels, like, Frieza bulking up and, going into full power. So, yeah, I think that the manga version of the arc is really good, but the anime version of the arc sucks. That fucking spirit sword at the end,
Don't even get me started on that, dude.
I might give it C just because Vegito shows up.
Vegeto's the GOAT.
But it's, like, stupid because he has the same outfit that he had in the Buu arc in this arc, even though Vegeta's wearing his armor.
Yeah, that shit fucking bothered me so much.
And also, so, like, all of the, like, continuity and, like subtle things that made Vegito so cool are gone, too, right? Because, like, the commitment that Goku and Vegeta have to make to fuse is gone because it's not permanent anymore. Which is weird, too, because, like, And now, granted, this would still be an issue if they went with this route. It would just be less of an issue. But like they have Shin and Kibito defuse with the Dragon Balls, and then like just add a time limit anyway. Like, why?
Seriously, because it was like clear that they were setting it up. It was right there. They had it. Yeah, I guess they just didn't follow through with it. They didn't think about it. It's so
well,
stupid.
because it's in the manga too, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's Toei's fault.
Yeah, it's just, it bothers me. It's annoying. And Zamasu also just, he's such a dumb villain.
Yeah.
He's super lame. People think he's a lot deeper than he
I
actually
mean,
is.
his plan is like really weird because
Yeah.
he's because he switches bodies with Goku, and then Jiren is just stronger than him. He's stronger than merged Zamasu, actually. So, like, if he would, and he asks the guy who like knows everything in the whole like multiverse, like a bunch of questions, and doesn't ask him like, who should I switch with? Are there other Dragon Balls? Any of that. He has infinite questions because he's got the guy like, you know, he's holding him and he's got like a keyblade up to his throat. And he just like kills him after asking a bunch of irrelevant shit. It's so weird. And like, why even involve Future Trunks? You know? That shit doesn't add anything to the arc. Goku Black could have just like, well, Goku Black, I guess, does have to come from an alternate timeline, but Zamasu doesn't. You could have had Zamasu take Goku's body in this arc. Ginyu did it. Could have just given it back to Goku.
And it just doesn't amount to anything in the grand scheme of things. Trunks and Mai have to go to a different universe because theirs got destroyed and have to live with another version of themselves. That shit is ridiculous. And Mai being with Trunks is such a weird pairing. She's older than his mom. The whole thing is really dumb. It was done. They had a really cool opportunity and they just didn't do it well. All that leads to is Zeno coming into a different timeline. That doesn't amount to anything either at the end of the day.
Zeno doesn't get used for anything anyway, so like having a second one is just like a funny gimmick, I guess, for the Tournament of Power.
Yeah, so that's a bad arc. Then there's the 9 Weeks of Peace, the recruitment arc before the Tournament of Power. I think this was pretty fun.
C or B.
Yeah, it's fun. I'd probably put it B just because it has really, really nice character interactions. And I think when they slow things down and have the Dragon Ball characters, who are really interesting by themselves, just in doing regular things, slice of life stuff, it can be really appealing.
Yeah.
And then there's a Tournament of Power and it's just shits in it.
The highs of this arc are good. Like Goku versus Jiren round 1, pretty good. Goku versus Kefla, aside from the fact that the fight stops every 10 seconds for somebody on the sidelines to explain what is happening, and it's usually like stuff that's very apparent, not like weird shit, like, you know, stuff that we've wanted answers to, like, hey, why didn't Zamasu switch bodies with Jiren? Like, no, the series doesn't explain stuff like that. But then it's like, Kefla can't hit Goku while he's an Ultra Instinct. He's just too fast. Like,
I can see that.
yeah, like I'm watching him dodge her. The info dump wasn't necessary, you know. But like, so it can't even do, like, everybody likes that fight, and I guess it's like whatever. It's cool seeing Krillin, Roshi. I wanted to say Tenshinhan, but he doesn't do anything. 17, Gohan, Piccolo all do stuff, but it's like, so another thing that's a waste here is like, I want all of the, like, I want more new characters from around Universe 7, but then they're just like, no, actually, like, there's like 22 planets that have like intelligent life on them in the whole universe, even though Frieza had like a whole empire and has like 120 different species of people under his command. Like it's so weird. Like it's like, we already, okay, so in Dragon Ball Z we established that like the Namekians and the Saiyans both exist, and one of each of them landed on Earth by happenstance. Like, that is how massive the universe is, that like two species from two completely different fucking planets that are nowhere near each other can just land on another planet, and it's just like complete chance. But then it's like, oh wait, no, there's like 22 planets with intelligent life. Really stupid. It doesn't make sense that they didn't go to one. Like, you know, it's so dumb. And And there's like the episode where they have to fight like the invisible thing and then like step on the bug, which sucks. Topo is really cool, and they throw that down the drain to make him an edgelord. Like,
with the fucking Master Media tattoos.
Yeah, dude. He's like, bro, I am Topo Cal Drogo edition. I'm gonna blow you up now. And then, like, Vegeta, they copy a lot of like old like moments too, like Vegeta blowing himself up. It's so corny. And like, why doesn't he die?
Yeah. And it's the same fucking speech, but he adds bra. Sure, that makes sense. But then he adds Kaba for some reason.
Yeah, I know, right? Like Kaba. And he doesn't think of Goku, by the way. He doesn't mention Goku like he does in the original speech. No.
Random kid I met once.
He also doesn't think of future Trunks, which is funny.
Yeah.
He hates that Lou.
Good.
Also, dude. Okay, so this is another case of the manga being better. And like a lot of people hate them. It's so weird too, because people pick and choose like where they want to have issues. Like they'll be like, bro, the power scaling in the anime is like fine, bro. And then they're like, why is Roshi dodging Jiren in the manga? Like, it's cool. Him having Ultra Instinct is cool. Like, yeah, it's stupid, but like so is all the stuff that happens. Like, I just thought that we'd accepted this stuff. So like, whatever. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm willing to let stuff fly if it's cool enough. Like, 17 probably shouldn't be as strong as he is, but he's very entertaining. So, I also think that Frieza is extremely entertaining. He's honestly at his best in this arc sometimes. So, I don't feel like F is fair. That final moment where, like, Goku and Frieza beat Jiren, even though Goku's in, like, base and is just, like, dragging Jiren down, like, sure, I guess. Like also, man, but there's like some like okay, so Evolution Blue is so ugly, by the way, and I think that Mastered Ultra Instinct is so much lamer than Omen. Bro.
Yeah, Omen is just so simple that it turns out to be like a really cool character design, especially now in the manga. I know you're not caught up, but Goku right now is trying to get Ultra Instinct without transforming. So he's just gonna look like Omen. Yeah. Pretty much.
No, I think he's just gonna stay in like base or like blue or something.
Oh, yeah, probably gonna stack it. It is a commendable effort to make so many characters. 10 contestants for like 10
it's
universes
like 8
each.
Universes.
8 universes, something like that?
A God of Destruction and an Angel for each. So it's
right.
Like, 96 characters
Jesus.
minus Universe 7.
It's a commendable effort, and some of them are cool.
Except it's just a bad idea.
Yeah, even the greatest writers shouldn't do this.
And I mean, a lot of the characters are just like nothing characters. They're just one-off because they have to be, because there's no way, like even with as long as the Tournament of Power is, that you can develop that many characters.
What we should have had was introductions to the various universes. We should not have jumped into the Tournament of Power right away. Even if it's just one at a time, or just a couple of them, where we meet like the Pride Troopers and maybe one other one, that would have been enough to at least introduce them. Maybe the rest are just throwaways, doesn't really matter. But having to learn about them right away, none of the Pride Troopers are interesting except for Jiren, Topo, and maybe Dispo.
Jiren's the goat, by the way. I don't care.
Then there's the ones that... Then there's the ones that they do try to develop a little more, like the Ribrianne, the Firebolts. Everybody hates them. Nobody likes them.
Yeah.
I think they're okay, but they are pretty lame in the grand scheme of things. The Universe 6 girls, by all accounts, should be interesting, but they get messed up so quickly.
Yeah, and I think that they just feel... So, can you give me any character differences between Kefla and Caulifla? Because I can't think of any. They're the same. And Kefla is just like Gotenks, basically. She's pretty much the same exact thing with the way she acts and talks and stuff. Except now people can go like awooga at her, and you know. Now I think that female Super Saiyans too are cool and good, but I just think that I don't think that that the series really earned like having them there and having them be that powerful and like that major. Like it didn't put in the work to develop these characters to be as important as they ended up. Which is a shame because, like we were talking about earlier, Dragon Ball is in like, especially early on, it doesn't handle its female characters very well and treats them pretty poorly. So like, I really wish that like like Kale and Caulifla felt like more than just like hollow like marketing devices. But
the final episode though is really, really good. I really like all the imagery with Goku and Frieza fighting together. I think that kind of stuff is really fun. I wish we had more stuff like that. 17 being the winner is a nice twist. I didn't expect that. I don't think many people did. It leaves it off in a cliffhanger. Well, at least in a nice way, where there's obviously going to be new adventures in the future. Obviously, Broly. But overall, I think Dragon Ball Super was just overall a really poorly made show, poorly planned. And Dragon Ball deserved a lot better.
I agree.
Or to die.
I hate it. It sucks.
Yeah. It's not here, obviously, but Dragon Ball Super Broly is really good. What would you put that?
I'd probably put it in like A or B. It has issues for sure. Like, so they do even more to mess with like all of the cool like thematic fusion stuff. Like Gogeta refers to himself as we, so it's like even less like, you know, the unity is like even less there, and then they both fuse against somebody who's like one guy who isn't really like another like fusion, and they're just like bullying Broly. Like that stuff's kind of annoying. But overall the movie's really good and a lot of fun. And I haven't read the Moro arc, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right.
If you want, you can move the universe survival arc up, because the good stuff in there is really good, but like most of the time this shit is F.
Yeah, I mean, it has my second or third favorite Kamehameha right behind Path to Power.
Wait, I convinced you that it's not the best? Let's go!
Yeah, you convinced me it's not the best. I do think the Saiyan arc one's probably the best, then Path to Power, then
agree.
That one. Do you think it's below the Universe 6 arc, or? I don't know.
It depends. Yeah, I think so too, just to also get like the least amount of people upset at you.
Yeah, just a little
like,
bit better.
There's like there's so much to like about it, but there's so much poopy in it. Like one of the things that was actually driving me insane was them reusing the Golden Frieza transformation animation. Like, dude, like watching the episodes back to back, like I saw it like 100 times. There were some episodes where they used it like 10 times in one episode, and there were so many times where it was like completely out of place, and I would just see like the 3-pointed like star shaped shadow and like start contemplating suicide in a video game. Of course, like I was just like, bro, please quit it. And it would always last for like 5 seconds. I was like, man, you guys can't be this short on time that you can't even animate like a 3-second transformation sequence like that's actually like in the tournament. Like, come on, man. You get like at least reuse something that you didn't use when he was on Earth fighting like the Baba people.
Yeah, it's just a mess. There is some stuff I do really like. The Baba stuff I think is really, really cool. I think you agree with that, right?
Yeah, I agree. The Goku versus Frieza fight there is sick. A lot of the best fights are from before the tournament.
Crazy. A lot of the stuff that gets reused is really fucking annoying. Even like Krillin just screaming out "Juhachiko!" That's all he does the entire time. It's so annoying. Just 18's name over and over again. It's really grating.
Juhachiko?
Yeah, Juhachiko! Every time. Oh my god. But yeah, overall, Dragon Ball is great. I really like Dragon Ball, except when it's bad.
Yeah, I'm not super like interested in it. I barely even want to go watch Superhero. I mean, like it looks cool.
Yeah,
and
it
the
looks
movies
alright,
have
yeah.
generally been pretty good, but I don't know. Like I'm kind of checked out of it. It used to be a lot better, but
yeah, as much as it pains me sometimes, I don't think I could ever get away from Dragon Ball. I do love it a lot. It's my favorite media franchise of all time, even if it's not my favorite story of all time. It's this curious thing that, I mean, I don't think we could ever look at it objectively just because how tied we are to the original story. You and me, I mean, we grew up playing Dragon Ball video games together at this point. And, you know, then there's the fandom that also affects our perspective of it. It's just interesting to see how our opinions coincide or we disagree, which I'm surprised we agreed with so much. We agreed with a lot more than I thought we would.
yeah, I agree. But I mean, like overall, yeah, the list is pretty. It's not too far off from mine, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple things I would move around, but nothing's really in the wrong tier, so.
Wait, which one do you think is the most egregious?
I mean, I would just switch 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai and Red Ribbon, and then it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me, dude. It's been a pleasure to have you, as always, man.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Thanks for having me. It was fun to talk about Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I know. It's been a minute for you, I think. Of course, you can check out Swagkage in the description below, like always. I'm sure you know him, Swagkage. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Look out for more videos in the future, and until we meet again. See ya!
Bye.